to Warp Zone, a podcast on sci-fi, philosophy, religion, politics, gaming, and anything else taboo.
Woo!
Woo! I am Tara Smith, and I'm here with
Benn Banasik.
and we are here
Yes.
on a sunny-ish day. I'm looking out my window. It's relatively sunny. Haven't been outside for a few days, living the COVID dream.
Quite cool. I like the cold. I know you
is.
know this about me. I like the cold.
I do know that. I felt like it was getting balmy in the afternoon yesterday. I felt like it was a bit balmy.
I'm not looking forward to that summer. I mean,
no.
Yeah, like with the winter, you get more flu-like symptoms, and ultimately, it's going to be bad for everyone's health. However, personally, I like the cold. So
yeah, it's true. I like both the hot and the cold. I think I like all temperatures. I was just thinking though that one of the plus side of COVID, if we could call it a plus side, is that Tom normally gets a winter cold, right? Like he gets a cold almost every year. I don't because I have a superior immune system, but he tends to get an annual flu. He hasn't got it because he just hasn't been in contact with anybody. So I think that's a benefit, that people may be getting less sick because they're less in contact with people. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe less.
Which means worse flu next year. So that's gonna be great.
Possibly. Yeah. I don't know. That sort of came out of nowhere. Anyway, how's things? You start, because I've got long stories, so you better start with your preamble.
Well, things are good. I'm a little bit frustrated about the COVID thing for a couple of reasons. So okay. So there's the health of everyone, obviously. That's and then there's the whole family thing. So my dad's wedding, that's been pushed back. Which is unfortunate.
I can see Peter behind you. Peter. Oh, where you go?
Oh,
hey,
you looked.
Hey, Peter.
There you go.
Pause.
Your voice is coming from like 5 speakers, so he's probably freaking out, going, "How is that
looking
happening?" around. Yeah. So like, there's the personal aspect of it, and then there's the health aspect of it, and then for my business, right? So there is obviously the risk of people not turning up for things, but what I've found is actually more of a risk for the business is the pushing back of everything. So. I've got an option to purchase a lot of cards from Europe at the moment, and I can't do it because I can't get shipping from Europe. So I've had a parcel sitting at Kiev, which is in the Ukraine, in an airport now for, what's the date? 18th? No, 21st. 22 days, not moved at all, sitting there. Just 2 weeks, there's parcels sitting in America, not moved at all. And then we've heard, last week, that the new Magic set which was meant to come out last week. They announced then, hey, it's not actually going to come out. It's going to be pushed back to August, which means the Double Masters set is going to be pushed back till September, which means the Zendikar set is going to be pushed back as well. So it's this rolling on thing of that 3 to 4 months that we lost at the beginning of the year, up until now, is just pushed everything back constantly. So it's like this snowball of effect, because once you lose that new release, then there's a hole, and then that hole can't be filled with anything else. So it rolls on, and it constantly isn't getting filled. So you're constantly being shrunk as a business then, with no new releases. So you get the effect of having to shut down. Then you get the effect of getting rid of events during that period. There's no coverage for that. And then you've got this rolling on effect of all of these things which aren't being released or happening. Like, you look at the new release schedule for video games, and it's bugger all that's coming out this year. It sucks. Sucks. So that's my frustration.
Why can't the post be delivered? I don't understand.
There's no planes coming to Australia.
But okay, that's
at the bottom of flights, so like pedestrian flights. There is cargo holds, and cargo holds usually hold lots of post as well as the stuff for passengers. It's just not getting shipped.
That sucks, man.
Yep. Unless you pay exorbitant fees for DHL Express. And now I always request DHL from suppliers, but a lot of websites that you go to and buy stuff online, you can't choose who they're shipping with. So they just choose who are their regular regular people that they ship with. And normally it'll be 3-4 days to get here from wherever. We're pushing on 22 days unmoved at all for this package in the Ukraine.
That's really shit.
Yeah. And then that's going to obviously create a backlog. If that's not moved for a month, imagine all of the other parcels that have come and are sitting on top of my package down the bottom. It's bad. It's real bad. It's like the world has just stopped.
Yep. And people are relying so much more now on deliveries, online deliveries and stuff too.
Yep. That's right. Sorry, just give me a sec. Just pull off this printer.
Right now, Ben is out of camera, sort of moving boxes around at his feet.
I just had to turn off a printer that was printing something. Yes.
What are you printing?
I'm not printing anything.
Oh.
Jody printing something.
Ghost printer. It's a ghost printer.
Ghost in the printer, yeah. Anyway.
So what else?
My news. I haven't been doing that. I got a new cabinet for the shop, which is cool. Crazy Taxi.
I saw pictures.
That was a mission. So I got my friend Dennis in Queensland. I pulled on a favour and asked him to go pick it up, which he didn't.
Yeah, we talked about it last time. Remember?
Did I?
Yeah, and I misunderstood and thought you meant that he'd driven all the way to Brisbane, but then didn't want to go to Campbelltown.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that finally turned up. So, the monitor was fine on it, which it was advertised that the monitor's broken. The game was broken on it. I was lucky I had another game, so I shoved that in there. That was all fine. And now I'm having trouble with the pedals because the pedals, they've used like a little nut thing and like a gear, and it's not proprietary gear. And they also used a non-proprietary oscillator, I think it's called, or something. Controls voltage by like spinning. So like I have to replace that mechanism. Yeah, it's not fun. I don't like this is why I don't like mechanical based games like pinball and stuff. I like arcade games, like button on, off, easy. I know how to do that. Other stuff that requires like mucking around with components and I don't even know what goes into them. Some sort of magic. Anything that moves, I'm not interested in.
So the what do you call it? The horse riding game that Tom likes would be difficult, you think?
Final Furlong. Yeah, that's a nightmare. That's a terrible machine. Like it's got like 5 moving parts just in the horse. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I still think you should buy one.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, you should buy 2.
How did you get
it? You can set up the betting ring. Like if COVID happens, you could corner the market here. Like you could have the horses there in the basement, and then have people betting. It'd be great.
Well, would we keep a shotgun in case the machine stops working, so we can shoot it in its head if it stops?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, melt it down, turn it into glue. It'll be great.
I've got a question though. How did you get it delivered in the end to Brisbane? You said you're gonna maybe hire like a U-Haul or something. How'd you get it?
Yeah. So I put an ad up, and then only like 2 people gave me a quote. There was a $50 difference between the 2. It was the most expensive quote that I've ever had.
How much was it?
$800.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's usually $250.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
$250 each return.
A machine, one single machine to come one way from Brisbane. That's the usual going rate.
That seems really cheap though for someone to drive all the way from Brisbane to Sydney.
Oh, they usually are put in trucks which move other stuff. This guy only had my machine and then Evan's little machine that I agreed to pay to ship. So it was like $700 or $800 for the 2 machines to come here, which is expensive, really expensive.
Yeah. But I guess that is quite expensive.
But the machine's here, so it's all good.
That's good.
It's on free play. people put coins in it on the weekend, so that was nice. We still made money off the machine, even though you can play it for free because it says free play on it.
Why did they pay? They're not realize, or they were just being nice?
I think people see a coin mech and they're like, oh, yeah, put $1 in. Cool, have a go. Because all the machines take $1 in the shop. So, yeah.
Is it really loud and distracting though when you were at the shop?
It's super obtuse and offensive to everyone walking past. It's great. And it says things like, it's very 90s, and it's got like the Offspring blaring in the background. Yeah, that's the song. Yeah. But yeah, the guy says, come and make some crazy money. Just drop a coin in and have a go. It's like repeats that through the day when people walk past, which is pretty funny. Yeah, it's going to get old.
I love the Offspring, man. I love it. It was one of the first albums I had. Was I can't remember which, the one with all like the main hits on it, and I just listened to it over and over again. I really liked the Offspring. Yeah.
Very, very 90s. Very funny. Very late 90s, early 2000s. So yeah, it's that blue sky Sega period, which is nice to have something of that in the shop. So it's cool.
Yep.
Now tell me funny stories. What happened?
All right, I'll try and deliver it in a funniest way as possible. It's one of those self-deprecating stories, so you should like it. So as you probably know, and listeners might know, I'm a bit of a pushover. I think that's fair to say. Quite easily manipulated, and will say yes to things that I don't really want to do. And Tom, if you don't know, is actually worse. So we make a pretty terrible duo of pushovers when we're together, because we both want to please people quite naturally. So the other thing you probably know is that I get roped in to do a lot of cat things. So it's a bit of a weak spot for me. Anyway, so Tom and I have been doing this sort of vaccination. I don't know if probably, Ben, you know, other people might not, that we bring people from rescues will come bring cats over and we'll vaccinate them, because we can order them ourselves because Tom's a veterinarian, and we vaccinate them. So it costs $12, whereas normally to get vaccinated a cat it costs $80 to $100, right? So it saves them a lot of money. Normally though, I try to get people to bring the cats here, because it's like, we're doing the service, you can bring the cats here. I think it's quite reasonable to ask, rather than we driving half an hour or something out. Anyway, so I have a particular person that we've been doing this for, and the first thing they did was they messaged Tom and not me, which is a big mistake, because Tom's even more likely to say yes to something that he doesn't want to do than me. So she asked and saying, can Tom drive over? It'll take about 40 minutes to do the cats, because she doesn't feel like driving here. And so Tom was like, I don't really want to. And she talked to me. I'm like, absolutely not. Like, we do not do that. She can bring them here, period. Right? So anyway, he messaged her saying, no, you have to bring them here. So anyway, she brings them here, but she brings a couple other people, doesn't tell me that she's bringing other people. So that was a bit weird. Anyway, she sits down and we do the cats for her. And then while we're there, she's like, I have a friend that has 11 cats, and they live, about an hour away, kind of in the Camden area. Would you be able to go do it? And I was like, so for someone that's quite easily wants to please, it's even harder when people are there in person, because I feel like I have to say yes. But I was like, I'll do some strategies. I'm going to try and buy time. So that will mean that I can have time to formulate a text later that says no, right? So what I was doing was giving kind of lukewarm answers. So she'd be like, oh, do you think you could? I'm like, maybe, but we'll have to see. And I'll be like, we'll be very busy. We don't really like going further away. We've done a lot of cats that have been those jobs that have taken us all day. We really, blah, blah, blah. So trying to be really not say yes, definitely. Anyway, so it was hard, because I was sitting there with their friends all looking at us. I felt like I couldn't outright say no. No, we're not doing that. So anyway, so I at the end, she was like, okay, I'll give you guys some time to think about it, talk it amongst yourselves. I'm like, yeah, you think? Yeah, please, let us do that, right? So off they go. And Tom and I just ignore it for a couple of days. And then I get joined into a Facebook message with the other person with the 11 cats, and her saying, Tara and Tom have agreed to vaccinate the cats. You can work at a day that works for you. And I was like, wait, hang on. We definitely did not agree. And also I don't want to do it. And then so Tom and I were like, I don't know what to do. Now they've got expectations, so that she's been told we're going to do it, and so I felt even more obliged. And so we're like, okay, we'll pick a day that we're already going to be in Camden, so very specific day that we can only do it on this day, thinking that if that doesn't work, they'll say no and we can get out of it anyway. But they said yes, and so I was like, fuck, how did this happen? And I felt like the meme, I don't know if you've seen it with Despicable Me meme, and it's like with like a notepad in front of him, and it'll say something like and then the second panel is something like I will vaccinate, it's not this, but I will vaccinate the cats, and then he looks down, he's like, wait, I will vaccinate the cats. Like that's how it felt. Like I'd been totally duped, you know, and I felt super resentful, manipulated. So you'll be proud of me that yesterday I sent messages to everybody and said, we are no longer doing vaccinations for you at all. And I sent it to the other person as well and said, we will not be coming on Saturday to de-sex these cats. Sorry. And I just was like, I was getting so resentful, Ben, because we're doing a service. Like, and most people, if you'd ask someone to do a favor and they're all like, oh, you would say, oh, don't worry, just let me know, or don't, you know, basically leave it. That would be it. But she did not pick up on those cues. And so I was really angry because I was like, fuck, like I didn't want to drive an hour. I really don't want to do that. Like you can bring the cats here, make it totally fuss free, but we actually lose money because we pay for the delivery fee of the vaccine, which is $30. We don't charge for Tom's time. It's not a business. We don't need recommendations. We actually don't want recommendations to other people. We're not trying to grow our business. So if they don't want to do it, if she goes, well, I don't want to ever do it with you again, I'll be like, fucking great. Don't do it with me again. Bye. Like, don't care. So I don't know. I just thought you'd find that really funny because I was telling my therapist and I got to the point where I was like, and then I said yes. And she was like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? Why did you say yes? That's not putting a boundary in place. I'm like, no, I guess it wasn't. So, but I was proud of me yesterday. Like I spent ages crafting these messages because it just makes me feel super uncomfortable. I feel like I'm going to die. Like it's just a total anxiety about disappointing people and things like that. But I was just like, we are no longer doing this. And everyone was like, that's fine. Like the thing is too, is I think people respect you more if you are really firm with your boundaries. Like this is what we will do. So I'm definitely trying to practice that. Anyway, the story doesn't sound funny now, but I feel like it was funnier at the time. Or just like how Tom and I just got to the point of really not wanting to do something, and suddenly we had signed up to do it and we were doing it.
So it's very presumptuous of her. But also, who owns 11 cats? Like what?
Like rescues. So.
Okay. They're all desexed?
Yes.
Okay.
But they weren't all, some of them were her own cats too. I felt a little uncomfortable because it's not a service I really like to do for people's own cats. Like I only really want to do it for rescue cats. If you can kind of afford to do it on your own, I mean, I'd rather people just go to the vet normally, but we try and do it just for rescues. That's the sort of the idea.
Yeah, but how do you know?
But anyway, exactly, we don't. And so that's why I decided I don't want to do it anymore. So because I'm also trying to like protect Tom a little bit because he's so busy at the moment and he's the one having to do it, and he has vet shifts and his own PhD, and I'm busy too. So you know, we're just pulling back a bit from that. So that was one funny story. The other funny story was I got an email the other day saying that I had a delivery from Amazon, from one of the American FedEx, or I can't remember the name, but like American delivery service. Maybe it was, I don't know. And anyway, but the address was my uncle's address in Seattle. So I was really confused. I was like, why am I getting an email of a delivery being sent in Seattle? And so I was like super sus about it because I'm like, I know that there's scams and things. So I was like, all right, I'll call up the UPS or whatever it was in America. And they're like, it's a real package. It did get delivered on that day. And it was delivered via Amazon. So I log into my Amazon account, no deliveries there. I log into Tom's Amazon account, no deliveries there. I messaged my uncle. He didn't get a physical delivery. Nothing came to his door and he hadn't ordered anything. And Amazon had no idea. And so it's just a mystery.
What?
No idea where the package came from.
Or if it's a real package or where it is.
No, nothing. No idea. I had some theories and I was really angry about it because I felt like someone has my details or something, like something's gone sus. But I can't find anything, and what kind of scam would be that they send a package in America with my name on it and my email address? What would be the point, right?
Scam ever. Just I'm going to notify you about someone else getting a package. Ha ha ha. Like,
yeah, I know.
What is that?
Yeah.
That's
But
so
I had, the weird thing is I had ordered something from Amazon that day, but not from that account and not with that email, but from Tom's account, and it wasn't being delivered in America. There was no record of it. I have no idea how to find the information, because when I called Amazon America, they said it's an Amazon Australia problem, but I can't actually call Amazon Australia. They only let you email them, and that's really hard to email with a set. They'll have like a set 7 categories, something like package is lost. There's nothing that says weird random package sent to my uncle in America option. So I've just ignored it now, but I thought that was like weird.
Is the tracking,
and when you,
so has it got a number or something like that on the email?
It has a tracking number.
It's weird.
Yeah, and then I clicked it, and Tom's like, no, I had to click it because he thought it was like some elaborate phishing scam where if I logged in and followed the link with my details, because I did, I put my password in the email like an idiot, because it just looks so legit, you know, it had the whole like FedEx whatever website, email and everything, and Tom's like, don't do that. Anyway, luckily nothing happened. I changed all my passwords anyway, just in case, but I was like, it linked to a proper tracking number and everything was legit. So still no idea what it was.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Anyways, that was my crazy story. Other than that, I told Ben before, but I was applying for a postdoctorate that now I'm no longer applying for. So it was a big waste of time. I got my hair done. Just probably can't tell because I washed it, but I got it a bit blonder and cut it a bit. I'll see if Ben can't really tell, but it has been cut. I
got my hair done too. See, I'm going more bald.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. You went for the bald cut, the old man haircut.
It's yeah. I feel that I'd be charged less at the hairdresser.
Yeah.
Because the conversations will keep getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So like Pete, who the guy that brought the cauliflower to me, former employee. So he was saying this yesterday. Like, you go to the hairdresser and you cut off a small amount and they charge you more, but you go and get like a crew cut and they charge you less. It's one of the only businesses that they do more and charge you less.
But that's because it's a lot easier to do a buzz cut than trim.
Yeah, but proportionally, they're doing more for less. It's a weird business.
I just had another question for you that I was thinking the other day. So you know how we have like questions about weird things like sheets, like top sheets? Do you use top sheets or not?
No.
Right?
What's top sheets? Oh,
yeah. Do you use it? Yeah. We did these whole hypotheticals about certain things, preferences, right? So that was one. Do you have a top sheet? Which obviously you do, unless you're an animal.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
The other thing's, which direction do you put the toilet paper? Do you have the toilet paper facing like away from the wall or towards it?
Yeah, or are you an animal? Yep. So
exactly right. That's one. The other one that we didn't agree with is like, if you're in a bind, would you use Jodie's toothbrush? Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would use Tom's as well. Oh, I thought you were anti toothbrush sharing if in a bind.
In a complete bind, yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about pillows? Do you have your own set pillows?
Yes, because I like a flatter pillow, but I don't care about the germs of swapping a pillow.
Oh, okay. Because Tom and I have the exact same pillow, so we don't know whose is whose. So we swap them all the time.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. I know my pillow. Jodie knows hers pillow, but I like because I like.
You like it firm?
Pillows.
Is what kind? Do you use the pillows that have the like memory foam, or do you use like polyester foam, or do you have the like with little feathers inside?
I think they've got feathers inside.
Oh, I hate those pillows. They're awful.
Yeah. You're a vegan, of course.
No, not because of that. I don't give a shit about that. But you put your head, on them, and then you're like lying on nothing. They're not good at all. They're so lumpy, like that you lie on it and you're suddenly lying on no pillow. Why would I want that for my head?
That's almost the best pillow is no pillow. It has to be thin, like thin.
Yuck. That's terrible.
Because I lie like this,
fuck off
with my
pillows.
arm like this.
Oh, I like that as well. I'm like that. So I have in a little crook shape.
Yeah. And then
sometimes you do the
No, you put the pillow here in between your head and the arm for those that aren't watching from home, which is everyone.
No, I always sleep on my arm. I either sleep with the arm out, like you're saying hello, or you sleep it crooked up, like a triangle.
Yes. Yeah. And then you put the pillow in between.
Do you sleep on your side? Do you sleep on your side?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Do you? Okay, another question. When you're sleeping with Jodie, do you get freaked out if you're both facing the same, like towards each other? I hate that. That's awful.
No, I don't get freaked out, like, because I know that she's there. It's been a while.
No, but I mean, no, I'm not freaked out. But like, do you think it's gross having each other breathe on each other during the night? I hate that. I don't want to be breathed on.
I mean,
really, you don't like that?
Well, I usually face the other way anyway.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom always seems to want to be facing me, and I'm always telling him to roll over, and then he just rolls back over and faces me. I hate it. It's like, seriously, do we want to be just recycling the same nighttime breath between each other?
Aren't you facing? So you're facing him first.
Well, sometimes you need to mix it up. I can't sleep on the same side all night. You want to be able to have a little bit of time on the other side, right?
A little bit.
You don't like to turn around?
Oh, occasionally. Very, very infrequently.
Oh, really? So you just sleep on the exact same side the whole time?
Usually, yeah, to my right.
So facing away from each other?
Yeah.
No,
usually.
There's no spooning?
No, we've got 3 kids. There's no...
No spooning? Yeah. Do the kids sleep in between?
No.
Anyway, I think this is totally time
The cats have slept between. The cats the other night were caught sleeping on the bed. Like, because the cats are now...
I thought you had a very strict no cat sleeping on the bed rule.
No, it was when Hannah was like really, really young. So now cats are out. So they're out and about through the night. As long as they're behaving. As soon as they start mucking up, then it's back to the lock on the garage. And it's not like, because they got all their food and stuff in here, and they've got their beds and their fluffy stuff and boxes and everything. Yeah. So it's like cat paradise in here. But yeah, for the moment, it's open.
I always thought you never let the cats in the bedroom.
No. Oh. No, all the doors are open through the night.
No. So they sleep on the bed.
Yeah, well, they were caught sleeping on the bed like in a train. You know how they do the train thing?
No.
No, cat train.
What are you talking about?
Butt of cat, and then head of cat and butt of cat. Like a cat train.
I see. Yeah. Last night, Thomas was sleeping on my side, and he's a big cat. He takes up like half the bed, so that also made it a comfortable sleep. Oh, wait, That wasn't my question, though. They weren't my questions. I had another question. What was I going to ask? Tupperware. How do you store your Tupperware? Do you think that the Tupperware should be stored as a set with the lid clipped on, or do you have your lids and Tupperware separate from each other?
No, there's a box that has the lids, which is a larger Tupperware thing. So all the lids are in there. And then there's a stack of stuff. Now, normally, I know it would make sense to put the lid with the thing. Yes. But with the limitation of space, and then we have, like, obviously kids' meals and stuff that goes in them all the time, there's a lot of containers that we have.
Yeah, I haven't quite worked that out. At the moment, it feels like I have a lot of Tupperware, but no complete Tupperware, and it's up so high that every time I try and pull it down, it falls on my head. So I need to rework that system.
Yeah, you got to put it down low.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Pots
really
up
annoying
high,
where it
Tupperware down low.
Pots up high.
Even though pots for us are down low because all of the storage space is down low.
Did you just make that up, or is that like a known thing to say?
Oh, it's an old wives' tale. It's like it's from the Middle Ages.
Oh, God. Passed down from generations.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, anyway, that were my funny questions to pose you, because I was wondering about the Tupperware, of how people store their Tupperware.
Yeah.
No one teaches you these things at growing up school, do they?
No. This is what should be taught instead of geography, history, economics. Tupperware.
Yeah. Tupperware storage. Yeah. Anyway, we should probably talk about the things we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So it's aliens. So this episode is, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yeah.
It can be our subtitle. So we watched Midnight Gospel, episode 4, 5.
I think it's 5.
5?
Yeah. I don't know. Ben was meant to watch it last week, and so I had all the prep done.
Yeah. And we watched Louis Theroux, the Wild Weekends, episode 1 on UFOs.
Yeah. 1996. 2008, I believe it was released.
Yeah. So he's just come from working on what was that TV show called with? Hang on, let's have a look. Which one did you want to talk about first?
I reckon we should talk quickly about the Midnight Gospel, so then we can talk more about Louis, which is probably got more to say.
I've just brought up. Google's so weird. Like, I just looked up Louis Theroux to see. Okay, yeah, TV Nation. So yeah, Michael Moore's TV Nation, which is pretty cool. So, and then he goes on to Wild Weekends and When Louis Met. So yeah, he was like a writer for Michael Moore, which is really cool.
No, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I did that on Google and look up Louis Theroux, and then got that information. And then I must have clicked something, because then it's gone Louis Theroux's height, and it's given me like like you type in a sum in Google and it says it really big.
Yeah.
1.88 meters.
That's funny.
How does it
be a common search?
Who searches
How tall
that?
is Louis?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so let's just briefly talk about the Midnight Gospels episodes. This was the episode last week that I asked Ben to watch, but for some reason he watched 3 and 4 instead of 4 and 5. So now, as punishment, he has had to watch 5, which I thought was a better episode anyway. I don't know what you thought about it. It's sort of about existential dread set in a prison. The guest podcaster person is Jason Laov, Laov.
Yeah, who is a bird.
Who's a bird or a psychopomp. Or the soul of the alien character that is imprisoned.
Nah, he's not the soul. He's a guardian.
Oh, he's a guardian.
Like he's like a tethered guardian to the alien, which keeps dying.
Really, I interpret it as he calls himself a psychopomp, which to me, I guess that's like someone that comes with you back and forth to death or
that's
hell.
Right.
And it's sort of set in a recurring death cycle. The prisoner keeps dying, and the idea being that he hasn't had the awakening or realized what he needs to realize to break out of that cycle, right? That's the impression I got.
That's right.
And each time he dies, it goes through like a montage of scenes of large figures with, I think, one eye taking a feather out of the bird and putting it on scales with his heart being measured, and each time in the beginning his heart is heavy. It's like a little demon heart, and it keeps being deemed as unworthy and has to relive the cycle again, right?
Yeah.
And the main character, what's his name? What's the main guy's name? Duncan. No, what's his name? Clancy. Clancy is a little rainbow xylophone character that plays music on himself. Yes. Yeah. I can't even remember how the story starts with him getting there, but his little rainbow xylophone. Anyway, what's the story?
The rose dies.
So
he's a rose in the garden. It sounds like we're on drugs talking about this. So there's a rose in the garden, the rose dies, and then he asks the computer how to make plants come back alive.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's looking at space, and then it looks like there's a Saturn type planet. And he's like, "Oh yeah, what's that?" And the computer says, "No, you weren't meant to see that." And then so he goes there, and that's the connection. There's no real reason he's
no, that's true. And the roses from the previous episode we talked about with I think it's Trudy Goodman, and the roses meant to have magical powers, and there's little mice worshipping it, right? They're bringing their dead mice.
There's a cult at the end, and he says that looks like, because the mice are taking their ailments to the rose, and the rose then sucks up like the blood and stuff off them.
Yeah, it's very detailed. Anyway, but the story is that this sort of this wheel of sort of deaths happening over and over again, because the main character's trying to get enlightenment. And
all of this is what I like about the show. So all of that stuff I like that we've mentioned there. But then you have this conversation going on in the background, and I figured out what I don't like about the show now after watching this. And it's something. So you get this conversation going on in the background, and it's of two old stoners talking about, you know, drug trips and having sex and then, you know, getting through life and whatever. That's fine. But they're not sticking with the point. It's like it's a cut down conversation on top of an awesome TV show. So it's like it's interrupting the show, or it's not going deep enough to that conversation. So I think it's really like the guest element to it. Like whichever guest is on there is going to either make or break the show. So they said some really interesting things because they're talking about avatars and World of Warcraft and engaging with the world and pushing yourself into a certain experience, but then, you know, that experience is actually fake, and what you're trying to do is actually fill the space with something else, and you don't know what you're after. And then the conversation gets interrupted by another death scene, and then it moves on entirely. So then that just it stops. Like there's no, there must have been further conversation there, because it then is disjointed and they go to a different topic straight away afterwards. And I felt like the editing of what would be really long conversations or really long things, that they've taken snippets from what they find interesting from these points of conversations, and then put it on top of what is the meta narrative of the show, which is the death scenes and the recurring aspects and the heart being weighed and all of that. And it just disrupted that whole thing. Yeah, and I found that like really frustrating, because like I like the animation of it. I don't like it as much as Adventure Time, which I mentioned last week, like the thicker line thing. But I still like the animation, and I like the character base. I like the conversations as well. But yeah, it's just not enough. Like, yeah, it's a weird.
You feel like it's too much quality is lost in the editing phase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I kind of like it as like, what I do really like about it is having a visual element to a podcast that maybe if I was listening to the full hour, I'd actually find boring. So I actually kind of like having an animation version of it happening while I'm listening. When I'm able to do both, but then sometimes it becomes disjointed and I'm finding that I'm sacrificing the visual for the audio or the audio for the visual, in which case I'm not paying full attention. So I think at times I really enjoy it, and what I really liked about this one is just how much the visual did match up with what the conversation was, because I think in the Trudy Goodman one it was okay, but the first one you watched, or maybe it was that one, that sometimes the action was really not matching very well with
that was the Trudy Goodman one, where you've got like her going to a gate and stuff, and she's talking about something completely different, really quietly as well, and you get these loud noises going on. You're like, how is this actually making sense? So yeah, I agree. And I think the meta narrative matched the conversation better in this episode for sure. It's just still, there is this disruption, and it's not because there's constant deaths going on and it's going recycled. It's because the topic that they're speaking about is then getting cut on the basis of something else, and it's obvious that it's a larger conversation, and they've just had to make editing decisions. And I think he's the type of interviewer that he wouldn't be pushing towards time, and would just be letting a flow of conversation happening. So these conversations probably go for 2-3 hours sometimes.
Yeah, they're really long podcasts from memory. So like the podcasts he does on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour or whatever are much longer, and it's very meandering, like like interrupted with, you know, anecdotes, and it's really good for that reason. But there was no way that they would be able, and the episode's is only like 25 minutes. So how do you cut down? And I think the way to look at it is this is just a taste, and I think that's what's really good about it. It's a short taste that might then get people to go, I would want to find out more about, you know, Buddhism or Hinduism or meditation or Jason Laov, and then maybe I'll track down the longer podcast. Like maybe it's better to see it more like a advertisement or something.
A preview, a visual preview or something like that, or like I think a lot of albums do that as well, with musicians that release like longer video clips. Kanye's done this for some of his earlier stuff. I know Kanye is a divisive character now, and he's clearly jumped off the crazy train.
I feel sorry for him, man. Did you see him doing the speech? He looks so stressed.
Oh no, he's crying and shit, and he's just all over the place. Anyway, So Kanye's album, My Dark Twisted Fantasy, there was a clip that he actually released as part of it, and it has this connection, but then it also links into the longer album. And so you get that snippet, but then there's so much more that you can get out of it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I think I should be thinking about it. But yeah, it was really frustrating because I actually liked parts of this conversation and I wanted to hear more about it, and then it just got like it gets cut.
Definitely. Yeah, well, maybe in the future, like, we'll obviously have a break from Duncan Truss, where we can come back and just listen to a full podcast.
Yeah.
A podcast reviewing a podcast.
Podcast reviewing podcast. We found our
very
niche.
meta.
Mm.
Yep.
Anyway, we could review our own podcasts.
Yeah, I did really like the talk on spirituality and the death cycle and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And at the end, where the character Clancy is like, he enters like a non-existence, right?
Yes.
Like the very last scene, it's like he's in like a grid
of
non-reality. Yeah, that was really cool.
Essential non-existence. That's what they're talking about.
Mm.
So it is your existence, and the basis of you being here is not essential. And that's what you have to realize. And that's a very Buddhist aspect or trait.
And then there's the weird singing scene. I've forgotten about that. That's so weird,
and then she's like, yeah, and now I can sing. Like, this is the prisoner which keeps dying. So at the end, the heart weighs less than the feather. So the heart is light.
Mostly by cooperation and stuff as well, right? Like by working together. I got that impression too.
Yeah,
like
and not shooting the guard. Yeah, because the guard keeps getting shot, and then that's bad. Okay, so then it learns that you shouldn't do that. So it's about being in existence, and that non-essential aspect is the conversation which is also going on in the background. But yeah, non-essential, non-existence, and then he comes out of the dream sequence, or the vagina pod, or whatever you want to call it, and he's at peace. He's not like shocked as the previous episode, because he dies in the previous episode. So
I liked this one. The singing part was weird, but I did like the kind of the reliving each scene and stuff. I thought it was like a cool visual, and just the repetition of, and how futile he's trying so hard, and each time it just doesn't seem to work. So I think it was a really nice visual to sort of talk about some of the ideas of non-existence and I guess reincarnation in a way, or those kind of themes. So yeah, I really liked this episode, even though it did feel at times maybe a little disjointed. And I think listening to the full podcast or looking at some of Jason Leov's other stuff probably would be more in depth. But as a quick little taster, which I see these as almost like a tasting plate of different ideas on meditation, I think it's quite good.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, now we want to talk about aliens.
Aliens, yes, UFOs. So Louis Theroux, so after he leaves the bosom of Michael Moore, and in an interesting point actually with Michael Moore's career, because he'd just done TV Nation, he was writing a book, he's filming movies, so he was on this trajectory of actually going and being more successful. Theroux decides to break out and run his own thing, and he gets a contract with BBC Two, and then does Wild Weekends. And so where he goes
Weird Weekends, right?
Sorry. Yeah, Weird Weekend. He sorry, I am getting distracted by my cat licking a brick. These are weird cats, what you did with them when they were in your house for that period of time, but they are the weirdest cats. Licking bricks. And that's not a euphemism. That's an actual thing. It's licking the brick. Okay, so so through in this time, he goes to America and he's crisscrossing all over the place, and it's then cut together for him spending time with not cults but subculture groups, really. And the subculture group of the first episode is the UFO community, and that includes people who see themselves as the defense force for UFOs, people that live close to Area 51 and own businesses there and try and profit off visitors that go there. And then, you know, there's historians, quote unquote historians, that live in the town of 81 people or something like that. And are trying to track the history of UFOs in Area 51. Then you get like community people that go to the borders and like wave at the guards, which is pretty funny. And then, he goes to cow mutilation sites. He meets with Quagar, I think is the name. So an alien that is speaking through a reverend. That's very weird. And then in the end, he says that he doesn't believe, but he finds it interesting, their passion towards UFOs. What was your favorite scene out of this amazing episode?
I love old Louis. Like, I don't know. I feel like he was a bit more scathing and a bit more. So what I love about Louis, and I know everyone loves this about Louis, is that he visits very controversial groups and he does it in a way that is non-judgmental, that they feel is non-judgmental, but you know that he is judging them a little bit, right? There's like some subtle things, but he does it in such a polite and like easygoing manner that people aren't offended. But in this, I felt like he was way more, like in his early episodes, way more critical in that like super nice way. You know, there's some of his questions are a little bit more pointed. I feel like Louis is just being a bit more tougher like than he is in later episodes, and I really like that because it's like cheeky Louis comes out and I don't know, I think I'm trying to remember the part I liked the best. I think I liked when he was kind of teasing the tour lady at Area 41?
Area 51.
51. Teasing her about the guards and then running up and then cuts the camera.
Going over the line. What if I throw this stone over the line? What if I go over to the fence? What if I go up the hill?
Like he's being such a little brat, you know, and like really like telling this lady and she's like, this is where I draw my line. And he's like, oh, like, you're not brave enough and stuff, and really trying to like tease this area. This
calls her a wuss.
A wuss, And then they go up on the hill where they can see another car coming, and the cameraman's like freaking out, and they cut to the camera guy. He's like, I don't want to be here. Like, we need to leave. And Louis like, oh, like just totally not fussed. Like, just feel he was just super brave. Oh, and then my other favorite scene was when he's doing the looking at the dissection of the cow. And talking about the anus and stuff, and he looks so uncomfortable. Like Louis has been in some weird ass situations, but like this to me, for him, it just looks so uncomfortable. And he goes to try and cover the bum hole rectum with his hand and said the viewers at the BBC shouldn't be seeing this. And like he can't quite cover it. You know, it just was so funny. I think I was just laughing the whole way through. What was your favorite moment?
So there's two parts. When he's with the Earth Defense Force people, or whatever they call themselves, and they give him the gun, and he's got like this diode thing stuck to his head, which is attached to a wire to the gun, and he's like, but how am I going to shoot them? There's no bullets in it. And the guy says, well, you wouldn't shoot ghosts with a real gun. You'd shoot ghosts with a ghost gun. So this is like got quantum rays in it, because that's what they are. And then, so it starts a bit of music, and he says, and so we stood and we waited to, defend the world, me with the gun, and the guy was going to do the chopping, and the guy's holding an axe. It's like, how is like a thought gun going to shoot an alien, but an axe is going to work? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's very, very funny. I also liked how he cut a scene. It was so perfect how he cut the scene. So there's the guy that owns the Area 51 gift shop, and he kicked the historian out of a trailer. And Louis talking to him and says, I'm going to go visit him. You know, what do you think about that? And the guy's then smoking a cigarette behind the counter. He says, I don't really want to talk about it. And so then he goes, the scene cuts, and he's with the historian, and he says, so what happened? And the guy says, well, in a drunken rage one night, they came in and they kicked me out and said, "Get out, you motherfucker." Uh, and so then the scene cuts back to them being in the shop immediately. And like, there's no gaps at all. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I heard you call him a motherfucker." And so this cut of this conversation between the two, it's so good. So
yeah,
good.
and Ben, do you remember when he's talking back with the other historian? He says towards the end something like, "Is it because you left because he called you a motherfucker?" And then like the scene finishes as well. So funny. I think it was like a flat face something, or like a round-headed fucker or something.
Yeah,
It was like a description.
Something like that. It's so good, so good. Yeah. Annoyingly though, so I was watching it, and ABC iView on the PlayStation 4 keeps cutting out. So like, watched 10 minutes and then it just died, and then I had to like restart it. It's
that's
just
annoying.
Yeah, it was really painful, and it's like, because it's a good show just to sit down and watch for an hour through stuff. It always is. So yeah, that was like a minor annoyance. But his old stuff I really like, and that's why I really like John Ronson, John Safran as well. I see them all in this same holy trinity of awkward, spryly interviewers. Yeah.
Definitely.
Very
Did you watch the interview where he interviews himself?
I've seen it before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's releasing a new book, I think. And he's doing an interview where he's interviewing himself with certain questions and stuff.
Okay. He's funny. He's very
a funny guy.
Yeah.
Also, as some trivia, I was reading about it. So you know how he briefly refers to the Heaven's Gate guys? He wanted to go do an interview with them, as well as Rail, I think, was another option.
Yeah.
But it was a year after that they'd had the mass suicide. So the film was this documentary was 1998, and I believe that the suicide happened in 1997.
That's
what
right.
I don't know
and
whether
they shows the video of him emailing, because he actually emailed them and they said, no, we have to prepare for what is our important mission at the moment, whatever that means. And then he learned later they all killed themselves.
Yeah, and there's a quick, brief view of people in body bags, and like nothing's explained about it at all. Like it's quite funny.
It would have been topical at the time, and everyone would have kind of, I think, known. Yeah, I guess. But now we're watching this 20 years on. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Oh, how hilarious when he goes to that guy, the guy that can channel. So after trying to get both. Yeah, they tries to get Heaven's Gate and then he tries to get Rail, and then he's like, what I could do was pay this guy $50 to try and get an alien. And when he gets there, this old guy sits down and like super serious and is like, and he puts his head back in his face and is like, I am contacting the he sounds like a Dalek. He sounded very Dalek, like, affirmative, I am talking to, number and then the questions he asks is like totally just taking the piss, like, will I see a cow? Like, will I have trouble on the road? Will I?
And the answers were so vague. I do not think that you will have trouble on the road. Like, that's all.
I liked how at the end of that sequence, so when the Reverend stops projecting this personality, whatever he's doing, and then he says, "Oh, Louis, give me your hand," and opens up his shirt.
His chest.
Louis, he's like, "Oh, why?" And he rubs Louis' hand through his old man chest hair. And he says, "Yeah, it's really sweaty." And Louis is just disgusted. He's like, "Yeah, it is pretty sweaty. Yeah, there's a lot of sweat," and keeps rubbing his hand and just like,
he starts wiping his hand off himself. Like,
walks away from him, goes, yes, there is a lot of sweat. Yes, sweat. Yes. I just don't think he could believe at that point that he'd actually rubbed his hands through someone's sweaty chest hair.
Oh, he was so disgusted.
Yeah.
It's so
very,
funny.
very funny. I like Louis.
Such a good episode. I love Louis too. And it doesn't look like the best job, like just go traveling around interviewing strange people with strange ideas. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
They'd just be so enjoyable.
But that subculture aspect, like that tourism of subculture, that Ronson and Safran do, the way that they do it in the polite manner of giving people space, I think actually allows us to learn more. the sex work thing that Louis did, which is other episodes, that's really sad, because you've got people that are straight being pushed into homosexual pornography, and then there's people that actually were filmed as part of the first documentary and then followed up later. They died of STDs, and so it's like,
or committed suicide, right? There was like a major porn star that had committed suicide since then.
And then there's like what Ronson does with internet groups and bullying, and Safran with murderers and Nazis as well with Theroux. He gives them this space so we can sort of understand where they're coming to, and he calls, they politely call them out on their weird contradictions, I guess.
But in a way that allows the dialogue to almost speak for itself. So like Louis doesn't need to go in and say how effed up are these people's views and really act really aggressive, because you can witness it when you listen to it and you watch it. And the way Louis can just do like a really well guarded kind of question that poses the contradictions without pointing it out, and he doesn't do like a gotcha moment, because he expects the audience, I think, to do it themselves, and it makes for a really nuanced way of interviewing, because I think some people could misinterpret it. They might look at it and go, oh, he's apologetic, or he's promoting these weird views, but it's just not the case, I don't think.
Well, and he says at the end of, like, he explicitly says at the end of this first episode, first season, he doesn't say it later because that's taken as a given, but he doesn't agree with what they're saying. The Nazi one was interesting when he was asked by one of the Nazis if he was offended by the Nazi flag because he's a Jew. And he just refused to answer whether he is or isn't. And that's the one moment where he says, like, because I've listened to interviews with him later, being interviewed. I think he was interviewed by Ronson, actually, someone, and he says, that's the one moment where he felt really uncomfortable, really, really uncomfortable, because the table almost turned towards him, and then you could see that there was this difference, and it was not able to be crossed.
That was a scary too, because I think he was worried he was going to get bashed or something as well, because I think they said they were saying stuff like that they would keep like bash him if he would said yes or no. So it was really brave of him not to say anything. So I don't think Louis is Jewish, is he?
Don't know.
I don't know either, but I mean that, like, it was really brave of him to just be like, oh, I'm not going to answer that question. I don't feel comfortable answering that. So I think that was pretty cool. I'm a big fan. I haven't seen much of Ronson's stuff at all. I don't know what you'd recommend. I know Safran's work pretty well, but not.
Ronson's books are one of the most readable books that I've read. Like, they're very good for travel, which is great at this time of year when no one can travel anywhere. But they're easy page turners, and his interviews are also quite good that I've read and watched. Safran, anything like. His documentaries are awesome.
I remember the what have I used to listen to his podcast all the time on the ABC. With Father
the Sunday Night Safran. I've been on an episode.
I think I remember you telling me that about bullying, right?
That's right. Which is pretty cool.
No, I really like Safran, but Louis got some sort of, like, I think he has that English charm where he can kind of get away with things. Very roguish in like a endearing way. But I really like Safran too.
Ronson's also British, but he's more squeaky. So I think he's more. I think he's from Manchester. So he's like a different. Whereas you could put Theroux in Eton and would not find him out of place. Like, he's very well spoken, and whereas Ronson's more Ronson's funny because Ronson like shows a little bit more of his personality sometimes. Which is cool. But anyway. Very, very similar styles. For anyone who wants to watch the episodes, so where can they find things? Louis Theroux is on ABC iView in Australia, BBC in the UK. I don't know where in America.
It's actually episode 2 as well. The UFO one's episode 2, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, season 1, episode 2, and the previous one is on televangelism. Televangelists. And then, so I watched it on iView, and I didn't realize my TV has some smart TV capacity, so I was able to just on the TV go to iView straight from there, from the television. It's quite cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's an old TV. I didn't know it could do that, but yeah, that's where I watched it. But they only have a limited episode. I think they only have like 3 or 4 episodes of the
it keeps
Weird
getting
Weekends.
renewed. So that one is going to end, I think, in 3 or 4 days or something, and then there's another one that keeps coming out. Which is kind of cool. And then Dressel's stuff is on Netflix. Yeah.
Is Louis doing anything new, like at the moment? Like, it's other than writing? I know he's producing a book. I think it might be Get Through This or something, like some punny title.
I get it. Well, he did that Scientology movie in 2016, and that was big. So I think he took a break. Then, so he published another book, which is A Call of the Weird: Travels in American Subcultures. And then he is going to release. He released his autobiography. Got to Get Through This. September of 2019.
That's what I was thinking of.
Who'd have known the fires would have gotten rid of my knowledge of Theroux? There you go. That's like it's deleted months from September all the way through till now. I've missed so much stuff of the world. It's very strange.
Yep. Anyway, definitely. I'm sure most people that listen are pretty familiar with Theroux. If not, you should definitely become familiar with Theroux.
Yeah.
And I guess we haven't really decided what we're doing the next couple of weeks, but we'll do something.
Nah, I don't think we should tell them. Keep them guessing.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Unless there's anything else you would like to say in sum.
No, I just apologize for last week's my bad audio quality. I've got my mic on this time, so it should be better. But I was a bit soft. It's hard to hear, so sorry about that.
All good. I will mix it and then make your audio even softer this week, so it's fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Good. Well, bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.